Hi and welcome to my time with the library. So today you might notice we're outside. Now that's because we're going to be doing some bleach art, and you'll probably notice our little mates, our live audience today, they're being particularly friendly. So I'll try and talk as loud as I can so you can actually hear me. So, as I mentioned, we need a well-ventilated area for today's fashion upcycle. Because we're using bleach, and bleach can be quite fumey. We're going to need some gloves and some old clothes. So this is one that I've done previously. So it just gives you a bit of an idea of what we're doing. All right. So for this project, we need some old clothes or some plain t-shirts or jeans. We need maybe some sponges. You can use a normal sponge, like a household sponge, and cut it into shapes if you want, but there are other ways of doing that. You'll need some cardboard. You'll need some stencils. I'll explain how to make them as we go. You'll need some pins and some different shaped tubes and some string. All right. Oh, and of course, we'll need some bleach. So my bleach solution is 1/3 bleach to 2/3 water. And that'll give us a nice bleach spray. All right, let's jump in, shall we? So, for my first project, I'm going to upcycle an old shirt. So I've just got an old shirt. You can purchase new shirts for not very much at all if you'd prefer to use a new shirt. These make great gifts. I've made many of them for my family. So we get our old shirt, and first off, we get some cardboard pieces and we put them on the inside, and this stops the bleach from running through to the middle. Now I've got some pre-cut cardboard pieces. Generally for the shirt I'll use just one large square piece, but we didn't have that on hand today. So we do with what we've got. So now that our cardboard pieces are in, we smooth out the shirt. Nice and flat. Get your placement correct. Right, so I've decided to go with something a little bit inspirational. I've decided to make a peace symbol. So for my stencil, I've actually just printed a picture on a piece of paper and then laminated it. Now we laminate them or contact them to make sure that when we spray them, the bleach doesn't just soak through. Otherwise, the whole point of it won't be very good. Right, so we work out our placement. I've also made some little letters. Again, when you make your stencils, just make sure you cut out your inside bits, unless of course you want them to be quite bold. Now you're only limited by your imagination. I've actually made a TARDIS one before, and various others. So yeah, the sky is the limit. Yeah, so we work out our So you just work out your placement. I might put my little letters here. Right, next we get our pins, and we pin our lettering and our stencils down. Now, I'm actually going to take my gloves off because this is quite fiddly. Just to do this bit, I'll put them back on when I spray my bleach. So your pins don't need to be all the way through. It's just enough to kind of hold your lettering on or your stencil on and in place. You can also use thumbtacks. Another little trick you could do, instead of using stencils like I've made, if you don't want to use stencils, if you want to do something a little bit more abstract or a little bit easier, you can also use tape or masking tape to create your pattern or create your stencil. So a lot of this stuff you can find around your house. And you just utilise whatever you have around your house, really, which makes it quite a budget-friendly craft, and definitely a unique gift. Okay, so now that that's all pinned, we've got our design. I'm just going to tuck that under there. Tuck this one under here a little bit. Make sure that's all nice. Right, we'll put our gloves on. We're going to get our bleach solution. Again, 1/3 bleach, 2/3 water. Oh, I haven't tucked that properly. So just make sure you tuck it nice and proper. Unless, of course, you want, your sprinkles all over your sleeves as well. And then you just give a light spray. So you make it just a little bit heavier around where you've placed your stencil so it stands out a little bit more. And then you just do like really light sprays elsewhere. Okay, so now we're going to leave this one to dry. And when it's finished drying, we're going to chuck it in the wash and you'll see the photo after of how it turns out. Okay, for our next fashion project, we're going to use just an old pair of jeans. So, like we did with the t-shirt, we're actually going to get some cardboard and pop it down in the legs. Again, I've pre-cut these cardboard strips for the purpose of the video. So for this one, it doesn't matter if your cardboard is slightly overlapping. Right, my gloves on. So for this one here, I'm actually going to be using these sponges, like I said before, you can actually make your own with an old household sponge or a new household sponge in any shapes that you want. And I'm also going to be using some string. I might pick a smaller bit though, so just a bit of string. Okay. So now, instead of using the spray bottle this time, I've actually put my solution into a container. And I'm going to smooth that out. And I'm just going to get a little bit of an idea in my head of how I want this to be. And we're going to start working on it. Right, so I'm just using footprint. Just going to dip it in here. Now yours might work better with a household sponge because they absorb more water. Try not to allow drips and things because that could ruin the effect that you're after. Hopefully this turns out all right. Now, if you're finding your solution isn't working properly, it may not come up straight away. You just add a little bit more bleach. And sometimes I find too the cheaper products work a little bit better. My live audience is particularly noisy today. Okay, so we'll just set that aside. So now I've got footprints. They're going to be coming up my leg.
Could you do like a star or a love heart on one of the knees?
So we've got footprints on one side. Now I'm going to smooth this out. And I might do a combination of stars and love hearts on the other side. Press down firmly. And if they're an old pair of jeans, don't be scared to, be creative. Again, you're only limited by your imagination. You can also do the same thing with your jeans that I did with the stencil on the shirt earlier. Or you could even do it like a tie-dye, where you bunch up segments of your jeans. And spray the bleach on, which is what I'm going to be doing with the next one. Right, so because they're jeans, they may need a bit more bleach. They may not, but we'll see. So because it doesn't actually look like these are taking too well, what I'm going to do is pour a little bit more bleach into my solution. Okay. So again, these don't look like they're taking too well, because I'm thinking perhaps my solution wasn't quite strong enough. Now, just while I'm thinking of it, I'm going to get my string and I'm just going to soak it into my glue. Definitely need a lot more solution on the jeans than what you do on the shirt. And I think perhaps it's because it's a much thicker material. So my footprints are slowly starting to come up. As my jean material is drying, my footprints are slowly starting to show. It's not real clear though, but that could be because of the sponge. Again, a household sponge would be much better because it will retain more of the liquid. And definitely use a stronger solution for the jeans, so maybe a half and half bleach solution. A lot of this is trial and error. That's why I recommend you practice with an old pair of jeans first before you go and upcycle your very expensive pairs of jeans. Right, so now that we've got our string soaking, just give it a little bit of a wipe. Okay, and we're just going to pat it down. I haven't really structured this design. I'm just kind of winging it, and we'll see how it turns out. I'm not sure if you can see, but you see how it's soaking a lot better off from the string. That's because the string actually retains some of the liquid in it. So now we're going to flip onto the other side. Oh, we've lost a leg. That's okay, we only really need the back half anyway. over. So as you can see, it's slowly starting to come out. And then I'm going to get a pair of scissors. Perhaps I might do it in this side. I'm going to just give it a little cut. Just make sure you don't go all the way through. Doesn't even need to be perfect. No designer brands here. We make our own. And then you just distress it a little bit.
Are you just cutting it for aesthetic?
Yeah. So this is simply all about the look. So I'm just rushing through this right now. I'll sit there later and actually pull apart and pull on it a little bit more. Just using a bit of the bleach here. Okay. All right, so again, we're just going to pop these in the sun. We'll let them dry. When they're all dry, we will wash them and we'll show you the finished product in the photo in a minute. Okay, now that our shirt has spent a bit of time in the sun, I'm actually going to take off my stencils. So just ensure that it is properly dry before you go and play around with it.
Should you be wearing gloves for this?
It's dry. So we just take off one section at a time. Right, we can pull our cardboard inserts out. And then we have it. Your own design shirt piece. So again, you can use the bleach, you can spray along the sleeves and really blend it in. You can flip it over and spray along the back if you want, just a little bit, so you can see a little bit of mine has actually run through where the cardboard wasn't protecting. So there you have it. All you need to do is wash it and then it's ready to wear. Okay, for my next little solution thing, I'm actually going to create a little bit of a mandala. Hopefully it turns out all right. So we're going to use just like a little filter or a circular sponge. And we're going to place that in the middle here. And then we're going to get our toilet roll and we're going to use that middle one as a guide. So mine's not turning out as well as I'd hoped. I think perhaps I needed a smaller roll or a bigger center point. But the whole point of this is just basically to show you that you can use any household object to upcycle a cool pair of jeans. All right, so that's almost flower looking. All right, and then a bit further down, I'll just stick my hand in. Now I'm actually going to pull my cardboard out for this section and place it over the top of my flower della. Now I've gotten my string, as you've noticed, and I've pulled a bit through. And I'm going to create a little bit of a tie-dye effect. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but with these things you don't really want them to be perfect. And I've pulled up, bunching up another little section. So I definitely would advise having a few practice runs and getting it down packed before you go trying it on a new pair of jeans. Use some old ones that you know you've outgrown or the kids have outgrown. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side, but we're going to start up higher this time. So what I might do is stick my leg in here. My arm. Yeah, I can't tie very well with these on. So I'll put them back on when I'm spraying my bleach. I've seen it done where people actually use chopsticks and just fold them. You can use rubber bands if you'd like. Rubber bands are probably easier and less time consuming to use. But I like the effect where when you spray the string, it retains some of that bleach moisture. So there we go. Right, now I'm just going to chuck my cardboard just over that little section. Right, now I've got my bleach solution again, and I'm going to spray, I'm going to spray. So this is quite potent and it does smell quite a lot, which is why in the beginning of the video I did recommend doing it in an outside area or very well ventilated area, or use a face mask. Okay.
Spray away from your poor co-worker.
Spray away from your co-workers. Okay, now that that little section's done, I'm going to flip them over. And I'm going to come up the back. As you can see, these are quite old jeans from when I was a few sizes skinnier. So if you're using a string like I am, make sure your knots are nice and tight. Right. And now we're going to spray again. Give it a real good soaking. Make sure you're getting plenty of moisture into your strings as well, because they will help create your pattern. All right, set these aside to dry. So as you can see, these are my first pair of jeans from earlier. They haven't quite turned out exactly how we're expecting, and I still need to distress this a little bit more. But this is purely for show, and I'm sure your designs will be a lot neater. And yeah, just remember to make sure that solution is definitely more concentrated. So, in the back. Oh, don't forget to take your cardboard out. There you go. Give them a wash, and they're ready to wear. So while I've been waiting for my pants to somewhat dry, I've tidied up a little bit and I've uncut the strings. Now it is still a little bit damp, so we do have to wait just a little bit longer, but we'll post the finished product in a photo at the end of the clip. But as you can see, this is how your tie-dye effect comes out. It'll be a lot brighter. Now if you want like a really like it to really stand out, use a more concentrated solution. Or if you want it, you know, quite faded and really subtle, then you use less bleach. As you can see, my mandala once again didn't work out the way that I was planning, but it's all trial and error, and yeah, it was more just to show you how to use things around the house. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this My Time segment, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.